Okay, so doing the actual washes, I recommend you get something like this. This is a tattoo artist cup that I got off of eBay. I think I got about 5 billion of them for about 3 cents. Um, they're a really good deal because they're, well, what's that, about a tenth of an ounce, something like that. They're a small amount, and it just really helps to be able to do this because washes don't stay on your wet palette very well. So it's nice to be able to do something in here and not get all over the place. So to do a wash when you're doing someone with paint, okay, you're going to need a, believe it or not, a paintbrush. Probably don't want to use one that has a real good tip on it, just whatever. And again, we're going to start off with your normal paint here. Okay, so this is Vallejo Game Color, and all I do is I put one drop into here, and it's thick stuff. At the bottom, you don't even need to put a full drop, just however much you're comfortable with. Starting out, and then you're going to start adding water. I'll start with 2 drops of water. And you're going to start mixing that around with the paintbrush until you hit the right consistency. That consistency is going to be that you're able to kind of see through it. You don't want it to coat anything. Again, you're trying to make only a wash where it goes into the recesses and the shade stuff, and it doesn't really color other things as much. Although it still will. I guarantee it still will. So I think your ratio is going to be around 1 to 4 or so on the water to acrylic. That's pretty close, I think. Be on the safe side, I'm going to do another drop of water. There we go. Good, you can still see that. So mix that around. Now, again, when you do the carpet bombing method, you're going to load up your brush with a lot of the wash. Load up your brush with a lot of the wash, right? You're going to take your mini here, and you're simply going to, and you want to kind of go in the direction of whatever the wash is going, to tell you the truth. You can see these folds are kind of going this way. So you want to try and lay it in as much as you can. Now, sometimes people just go nuts and go all over the place, which you can do, but I like to try and lay it where I want it. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going in, kind of going with it. Again, it's going to get all over the place. You want a lot on because what you want to happen is you want it to dry, and the water that carries the pigment as it evaporates will deposit the pigments in its place. The larger concentrations of whatever is at will leave obviously more pigment, which is going to add to more shading. So you don't want to kind of go skimpy on this. You don't want to do like a little bit here and there. That's a shade to tint something. That's not what this is about. This is putting a lot on so that you have that coverage. And you can see that right there is about, if it will focus, will you focus please? There we go, that's about right. That looks pretty focused, yeah? Well, I hope so. So there is doing it from the paint pot. Again, wasn't so difficult, right? These come in real handy. Now, even though I really detest these things right here, okay, they do have a up on the eyedropper, as you can use them right out of the pot. These are the only ones you can use right out of the pot. You can also mix them. You can go in kind of waves. So here we have the Agrex Earthshade, which is the darker one, also called Devil and Mud. And we're going to do some of this wood over here. Now, what I have found is that Agrex Earthshade doesn't really change the color of things very much. It defines detail, as it does right here. It doesn't really change the nature of things very much. Doesn't make it look too much different. Still the same color, which is a P3 khaki color that I put down as a base coat. Obviously, I'm not doing a very good job. It's just for instructional purposes only, if you will. Yeah, so it does a good job of filling in the crevices, but doesn't change the nature of the color very much. Where the Seraphim Sepia puts a beautiful sepia, how about that, hue on everything. And this is really, really nice to use, but it doesn't highlight details very much. So I tend to use them in concert with one another. I'll come in with Agrax, get all the details laid out, and I'll come in later with the sepia wash and pick out, or not pick out, but kind of carpet bomb everything, and it'll tone the color for me as well. And it's usually a very nice tone on it. Another point, when you're having this stuff dry, you don't always want to keep it upright like that. Just walk away and say, hey, I'm good, because the water's still liquid. It's going to run down, at least for a little bit. Hold it level, and you can actually move the wash around by tilting it back and forth so that it flows everywhere it needs to. If you hold it up when it's still liquid, you're going to have a lot of shading down here and very low shading up here because gravity still has an effect on that. Not so much with the oil paints, but hey, we'll get to that. Okay, good, fantastic. Yes, we move on. Great. The Vallejo one is nice because you could actually use your colors a little smartly. So here I have the black, and you don't need to cut these with water unless you're doing something special, but we're not doing anything special right now. So I'm going to do a drop of black. There we go. And because I'm going to be shading at least part of red, I'm going to do a, never shake the living snot out of these things. I don't think I did that with the black. Just dump that out and try it again. Make sure I shake it up real good. Otherwise, all the pigment's puffing on the bottom. I'm going to get a really watery finished product here. So there's the black, and then one drop of red as well. And then you just mix these together, and you have a reddish-black shade or wash. And these are nice because when you do the models, you could actually kind of match the stuff up to the base color. And what the effect is it's not so overpowering that the shade's on there or the wash is on there, and it doesn't change the nature of the color altogether. It still stays kind of red. Now you can see this acts quite a bit differently, as I already put it on. It's definitely different. A little hard to see. It's like thicker or something. It's more viscous, definitely, and a lot more shiny as I'm using it. We'll let that dry, and you can see this wash over here is almost dry, and so is our Games Workshop stuff. We're going to come back in real quick, and I'm going to use the Vallejo sepia shade on the wood on the front. Here on this side. Sepia shades are real good if you want to put it on metal to make it look kind of decayed and rusted and stuff. Works real well. Now, as you can see, like I said before, the sepia does a good job changing the nature of things. It now looks more brownish or warm or whatever you want to call it. Where here with the Agrax Earth shade, you don't have that effect, but the details are picked out more. So just keep that in mind. And as I said before, I'm going to, now this is mostly dry, on this first part that I did before with the Agrax Earth shade, I'm going to go in, I'm going to hit it up with the Seraphim Sepia from Games Workshop. Again, just a real light coat. You can see the difference between the two. They're right next to one another. This is a warmer color. The Games Workshop one, that is. Okay, pretty easy, yeah, no big deals. Alright, so now that we've done that, what I am going to do now is I'm going to show you how to do the oil washes. Again, my favorite. Now before you do an oil wash, you need to make sure that you have everything that you need to proceed. I'm going to use two. I'm going to use a black, ivory black in this case, and raw umber. Dark browns and blacks are kind of all you need for the oil paints when you're first starting out. You're going to also need a brush that you use exclusively for oil washes. Here's mine. It's a burnout brush that I use from something else. I put a little ring of paint around it to remind me that that's for oil. I guess orange means oil. I have a green band around one. I don't remember what the green means though. But anyway, this one's for oil. The way that you do this, these things come out and they're real thick and, hey, oily. Don't put this onto palette or inside your little cup, okay? Just take your brush and you're going to scoop a little tiny bit out and put it inside your cup. Alright, problem is now that I have black on this brush, I can't really wipe it off on anything because I don't have the mineral spirits out to clean it. And I'm going to take a little bit of brown as well. I'm going to mix the brown and black together, and there's a lot on my brush, and put it in here. And it doesn't really look like much right now at all, and that's okay. It's a whole bunch of nastiness on my brush. It's very sticky and messy, and you're going to be doing like, what the hell is this all about? I'm never going to make that into a wash. This is total crap. If you think that way, that's fantastic. Anyway, for the mineral spirits themselves, you can go anywhere, and I actually found it at a hardware store to buy them as well. But this is what it looks like. And it says odorless paint thinner. And then here on the bottom it says 100% oilless mineral spirits. And this is whatever the hell brand that is. Doesn't really matter. This is about $6 or something like that. Oil paints are quite expensive. As you can see how much I just used, they're going to last a lot longer than you're going to live. So I put some mineral spirits inside of one of these little nice droppers, and I label them mineral spirits so I know which one it is. So in case I'm down here in my sleep trying to brush my teeth, I don't get the mineral spirits out and use it as a mouthwash, because this stuff is probably pretty poisonous. Put 2 drops or so in here to start off with. And then you're going to start mixing it around, and you're going to see that the mineral spirits are going to basically act as a solvent and break down all those oils and start creating what looks like paste. You want this relatively thin. There's 2 more drops I just put in. And it's a little hard to tell, but you're just going to be kind of taking it and putting it up, pulling it up on the side of the cup or whatever you're using. Don't use anything that you use your normal paints on for this, because it's going to make a mess out of it. Also, if you get mineral spirits up on the metal part here, just lay your brush down like this, and then just pour 1 drop that way. We'll actually rinse a lot of that stuff off, but it's not perfect. Okay, I think that's about 5 drops I've put in so far, and it's probably pretty close. You do want this, again, extra thin, and it does take a little extra time to prep, but hopefully I'll be able to show the advantages of this. Again, I really love this stuff. It's fantastic. Now, before you use it, and I'll have to actually make this into a 3-part video, as I'm mixing this stuff around and getting the right consistency, which you'll know by doing it once or twice. You'll be able to figure it out. You're going to want to varnish your model. In fact, you want to gloss coat varnish your model, because the gloss coat has a much finer, smoother surface, which is going to assist in the capillary action for the this oil wash to move around. So I need to go in and gloss varnish this. I'll stop now. We'll come back, and you'll see it varnished, and we'll go ahead and we'll use it, and I'll show the mixed product. And everything else will be dry by then, so you'll be able to see that as well. All right.